Good evening, and we are live. And tonight, my special guest is Karen A. Darman. How are you doing, Karen?
Doing great, Jacqueline. Thank you for having me. You know, this is my first show of the new year. So let's
Oh,
start it off
wow.
with fun.
It's so brilliant to speak to you. Like, I've met you twice at Sage Paracon,
It's been a
and you
while.
basically showed me how to use a Ouija board.
That's right. I think when I first met you, was that 2018? I think it was.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
it.
been over 3 years, and then I saw you again, and then yeah, you were doing the Ouija board with all of us. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
that's it,
we had
because
we
I
had some cool stuff happen that night. We were doing the board at the
definitely.
castle. Hmm.
Now, I just used to sit there with the board, stick my finger on it, and nothing happened. Well, there you go. I just stuck my finger on it, and that, it just caused negativity. Because I thought, oh, this isn't going to work. But then you
Well,
kind of showed us how to do it, and my grandfather came through, and so did the grandfather of the person I was doing the board with, which was absolutely insane at the same time. So,
Well, I mean, let me ask you this: what was a big turning factor for you to get it to work that time? What was it you did differently? Because I think that'll help a lot of people that are listening and want to know how to, use the board.
yeah, you basically told us how we were sort of touching the planchette.
Hmm.
Now, you said to basically put your fingers on the planchette and glide, and
Hmm.
then see where spirit takes us. Whereas when I did it, I just put my fingers on the planchette and it wouldn't move.
Well, when you have a planchette, like that's a good point, and you put them on there, and if you're too heavy, it can't move. You have to be super light. Do you remember that talking about how light it had to be? And then when it starts to move, you just follow it. So you're right, it like glides. And people
Yeah,
often tell me it feels like ice skating, or it's so flowing, and you just follow that movement. But that's the hardest part, you guys, is just to get your fingers lightly on there and to let go and let it happen and not
yeah.
question it, right? You people go, am I pushing it? Are you pushing it? You think too much,
Oh,
and that
gosh, yeah.
blocks you, right?
Yeah, that's it. I'm sure that's what I did. I blocked myself
You
because,
did.
my fingers are just too heavily on it, and that was that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you taught me how to use the board, and I'm grateful for that because that is the first time it actually worked for me. And to
Amazing.
actually speak to my grandfather was absolutely awesome. Yeah, it was
We
cool.
had a lot of really cool things happen both times we were out there doing the board session. You guys, what we do is we do this one night at Sage Paracon where we do investigations. In my room where I was working, and one year I was with Barry doing it, and one year I was with Calvin, and we were teaching people how to use the board, but also we were trying to make connection with anybody's spirits in the vicinity, but also if you wanted to communicate with your loved ones or something else. And so we were doing that, and many really cool connections happened. Some people connected with energies in the building, but other people connected with, like you said, your loved ones. it was
Yeah,
it was really neat. It's amazing what you can do when you've got your mind in the right place with this work, and you learn to just kind of follow that pull. It's totally a sliding pull sensation, and then it's endless of the possibilities of communication you can have.
yeah. I've used it so often since then.
Have you?
And it is a great tool, and some of the information you get through it's kind of mind blowing, but they don't always tell the truth either, do they?
Well, and that's you bring up a great point. People say, "Well, how do I know I'm getting who I think I want to get? How do I know that's my grandfather?" And the bottom line is this, you guys: when you're brand new at using this tool, you don't know because you're so new at getting used to the energies and how it feels when you're channeling. You guys, I want to put it out. Let's just say it right now. Put it out there. When you use the Ouija board, you're channeling. It's not the board. It's not these boards back here or the planchette doing the work. It's yourself. And so you got to learn to trust yourself as an instrument operator working the board. And so it's just like
Yeah,
one tool you use is whether you trust yourself using your tarot cards or a dowsing rod or a pendulum. It's like getting used to your tools and learning to trust yourself. That takes time, Jacqueline. So I always say to people, don't trust the messages right off the bat. You see them as entertainment, write them down, but there'll be times when you're going to resonate with the message so well. You're going to go, I know for a fact that was my deceased grandfather. I could feel it. And maybe he
yeah,
might even say something to you that only you know. So that's when you start over time. You keep your notes, write your notes down, the messages you get, you keep your dictation going, and you look back on it and you go, okay, now I can start, I'm getting more clearer messages. It's not just gibberish. It's starting to make sense. And over time, you start to see this progression. And then you start to recognize also energies as they come through the board. And you go, oh, yeah, that's my angel coming through, or that's my grandmother coming through, or that's my friend who just passed away, because you know their energies. And that's when you can start trusting the messages. But it takes time. It's like
Yeah, it
with
does.
any, right, with any tool you learn, or any sport you learn, or any new technique you're learning, it takes time to become pretty good at it. And the same thing with the Ouija board. So great question you brought up.
But do you actually say that it's any different from any other tool?
I think what's different is that you are relying on yourself to be a channel. The messages won't come through unless you are allowing the energy to flow through, and then you follow it. So what's interesting about this is that you get to see this display. Let's call it the theatrics of something moving around a board. Well, here's an example. Here's my circa 1973 board, the one I got from Santa Claus. You've seen this before. I brought this to stage, right? Here's a planchette. Now, when it's moving around, it's like you got to be able to, let go, let it happen, and try to trust the energy that's coming through. But what's different about this tool is that you get to see the spelling. You actually get to feel the energies come through, and you get these messages. It talks to you. So it's very different than like a pendulum. You just get yes, no, maybe. It's very basic. This is, it's called a talking board, people, because it's not about just going yes and no, yes and no. It's about learning to spell and talk with it. So that's a huge difference. And also learning to trust yourself as the medium, if you will, or you can call yourself a psychic, a medium. I like to call it the channeler, the operator of the board, trusting yourself to allow the energies to flow through. So yeah, it is different than a lot of other tools in those regards.
Yeah. But the way you use it, you're so quick.
It can move really fast for some people. And you got to remember now, here you go. I've been using the board. I'm going on my 49th year of using this
Wow,
tool.
awesome.
Crazy, right? Crazy.
Yeah.
I know. So July this year, I'll hit the 49-year mark, but I'm working on that right now. And so you got to understand why it works so quickly for me is I've been using it for a long time. And I perfected my techniques over the years, and I worked with many different spirit beings and worked with many different people that it's become second nature to me. And I don't
Wow.
question it, in terms of is it going to work? I haven't met a board that doesn't work for me. I mean, every board works for me, you guys. Every single board, doesn't matter what board it is, it will always work. Whether it's something I just wrote like numbers and letters on a cardboard, you've seen me do that before.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, every board can work as long as you're able to work, and I trust myself with this process. That's why it works so quickly, and that's why it works so well.
Yeah, that's it. A quick shout out then. A quick shout out to hi Nigel Porter, Ine Shin, Carl Hodgson, Diane Calderon, Kirsty Cook, Sarah Edwards, and Greg Coss, Irene Takura. Thanks everyone for watching. So, where did the spiritual side or the paranormal side start for you then?
Well, this has been a lifelong journey, and I didn't realize what I was doing as a kid. I mean, I would see lights around people, and I later learned that's called an aura. I would know people's thoughts sometimes and not realize, like, oh, I know what's wrong with that person. What the person hurts. I would understand problems in their body. It was like, no, you don't. I go, yes, I do. And I would say certain things, and then I had a friend. And everybody told me it was an imaginary friend, and he was not imaginary at all. And I would talk to him. Yep. And his name is Dacky, and I wrote about him in my third book. He's in here, and you guys, this is a funny thing. Okay, so a lot of kids have imaginary playmates, and it's almost like 2/3 to 3/4 of the kids before the age of 7 have had some kind of imaginary playmate, so-called imaginary playmate, they communicate with. And it could be an animal, it could be some kind of interdimensional, it could be some creature that you think they made up, or it could be like mine was like a little sprite or an elf, or it could be just like a person. So, and it could be like dead grandma, it could be a lot of different things. But so what happened with me is that I had this friend Dacky, and I saw him, and he would talk to me, we'd play, I asked him questions, and my mom kept saying, who are you talking to? And I said, can't you see Dacky's right here? She goes, there's nobody here. Karen, you're gonna go to school, you need to stop that. You kids are gonna make fun of you. So you guys, a lot of us do this. We put it away. We think, I'm going to put this away. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Although you go, but I know he's real. but then you convince yourself not to do this anymore because you just want to fit in with the big kids, right? You want to go to school and be a big kid, right? So that's what I did. So I thought, and I remember talking once in a while to an occasional friend. Yeah, I had this little imaginary playmate and it wasn't imaginary. And then you guys, I'm writing this book, 2015. I'm writing this, actually 13 and 14. I'm writing this book, and all of a sudden I get this download of a poem. Now, Dackie's very clever. Dackie's this little sprite, and he likes to talk in parables or quatrains. He likes to say things that are like, they rhyme. He's very fun, poetic. And so this poem just downloaded into my mind. And I was out walking one morning, and I had my little tape recorder, and I said, I'm just going to talk. And I just spoke the poem as it came. And it was like this really cool poem. And I go home, and I type it up, and I go, I just changed a few things. But that's how the book kicked off, with his poem. And then I realized in the writing of this book, he never left. Dackie, I thought I put him away. He waited in the wings for me when it was time to come forward and help me, like a spirit guide would do, you guys. Wow. And he comes up, shows up again in the book in the end. I'm not going to tell you what happens. And now he shows up, but it's phenomenal. So his story is woven through this book. And this book also talks about more advanced uses of the Ouija board and then connecting with your spirit guides with or without a board. So it's really fascinating. I find, Jacqueline, you and I were speaking before we got on here with everybody. We were talking about how you really can't separate spirituality and the spiritual path from the paranormal. And from once you understand things exist and continue on like an afterlife, you realize there's so much more to yourself too, and so much more to the world. And then what happens is you start developing other senses. We call them the clairsenses. You might become more clairaudient, clairvoyant, right? Right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
When this happens, you realize, oh, it wasn't just about understanding finding ghosts. It's really about understanding who you are and the divinity of yourself. Isn't it true? And so writing this book took me in this whole odyssey, more than what I'm saying in the book, but it's like the story behind it. And you guys, this is so funny. So this book is like, it's a very much of a self-help kind of book too. It really helps you clear out the cobwebs and really move forward in your life in magical, creative ways, synchronistic ways to manifest. And what's interesting, so I'm writing this book, and I'd wake up sometimes 3 or 4 in the morning, and I get this download again of information. I just get up, write it down, and I go back to sleep, and I wake up and read it and go, wow, where the hell did that come from? And it's in the book. Okay, so it ends up being in the book, and I swear, this is so funny, you guys. So every now and then, if I get stuck in something in life, the guides who I talk about the guides, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. They came to the Ouija board when I first met them, but they come through and they'll say, can we remind you about a book we helped co-write? And would you go reference chapter 6 or something like that? And I go, what? And I go back to the book and I'm like, what? We said that? They're like, yeah.
And they remember.
Oh, they totally remember. It's amazing.
Wow.
The odyssey here, you guys, is we all love the paranormal because we're going like, what's out there? What's more than meets our physical eye and maybe touches us in our inner eye, right? Where there's more. Yeah. And so once you go down this path and open the door, you're forever changed, right?
Definitely, yeah. I used to like go on ghost hunts basically, and said for anything to like exist, it would have to hit me with a brick before I actually realised it was there. Since then, I started development about 7 years ago, and I thought, well, I didn't know about mediumship. I wasn't sure about any of it. And the people who were teaching me kept saying, oh, you sure you want to go down this route? Because once you're on it, that's it. I thought, yeah, okay, whatever, you know.
You're like, yeah, I'll shut the door when I want to.
Leaving it. And wow, once you get on it, it's mad, isn't it?
Well,
and it's a beautiful world.
It's a different world, but doesn't it make your world that much sweeter and brighter because of the things you're learning about and exploring and just even tapping into it? Doesn't it just like sweeten the pot?
Yeah, definitely. It sort of adds so much to life, you know, and also it helps you get through the bad times as well.
I 100% agree. So, you know, my odyssey, when I was seeing these little beings and lights around people and stuff, when the Ouija board came into my life at the age of 8, you guys, that's when I got my first board. You all seen it before. Hey, and by the way, shout out to all my friends there in the UK that are watching. I love you guys. I miss you guys. I can't wait to see you guys again. But when the Ouija board came to me, it became like this like a sage. It became this opportunity to reach out and not just explore deceased people, transition people, I like to call them, and they like to be called transition people because they still are very much alive, just in another form. It became this odyssey of also exploring and tapping into like my higher self, the
Wow.
angels, the extraterrestrials, which they don't like to be called extraterrestrials. We'll call them ultra terrestrials. They live
Yeah.
outside of this realm. And the list goes on. And of course, the animals, you guys, I talk about animal communication, dead and alive animals, and then also the spirit guides I love working with. And so it was a progression for me. And this is why I love the board. It really was this, I'll call it my lifeline back to
Yeah.
who I came into this world and was told to not do that anymore. Became my lifeline back to who I really am, and who I really am, and who we all really are
Yeah.
connected beings to the universe. There's so
That's
much
right.
more to us and our connections. And so that's what the board represents to me. Got some of my boards back here. I wanted to show you guys.
They're beautiful.
It represents that to me. This is why I love boards, collecting them, and I love using them, because it is a lifeline. It is a connection to other dimensions.
Yeah. And you're also the officer and director, one of the directors of the Talking Board Historical Society.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, you guys. Shout out to Talking Board Historical Society, TBHS, and all you guys out there who support us. You know who you are. And by the way, I've got a new shirt on. This is not a TBHS shirt, but I want to show it to you.
This is beautiful. I want one.
You guys, okay, I think it's from a company in the UK. The company's called Creep O Rama. Creep O Rama. Type that up in your URL. Cool shirt. I love it. They kind of brought old school William Full, the blue ghost back. It's got some cool things on your sleeve. I mean, it's bitching, you guys. I just got mine recently. So anyway, back to Talking Board Historical Society. You guys, we love educating everybody about the facts behind the Ouija board, like when it was created, developed, who the people are. We love to celebrate all things about collecting and using the boards, and the people who throughout history have used them. We're talking about the good, bad, ugly, and in between. I mean, there's always many stories about the Ouija board, as all you all know. And it's important to bring that forth and say, look, this is a wonderful tool, and these are the different ways it's used, or different ways it's recognized, and how people see it. And it's become such a recognizable tool. And you guys have in the UK, there's in Canada, they're in Mexico, they're all over the world, you guys. It's part of our psyche now. It's part of the pop culture. It's part of our psyche, you guys. So you can't get away from Ouija. It's going to be around.
Yeah, they are great. You know, I was scared at first. You know,
Right.
I saw one in a corner. I don't go near it. You know, this is about 2004. Do you want to use it? So I don't know. My mum said not to. You know, but I don't think really she'd want me to do what I'm doing. You know, apart from she's passed now, so she knows it's my form of trying to communicate with her. Just kind of sort of how I've gone down this route. So I've actually got a question from Sarah then.
Wonderful.
Sarah Edwards.
Hello,
So she
Sarah.
says on 3 different occasions at 3 different locations, we made contact with a little boy who told us he died in a car accident. We thought we had passed him over on the second occasion, but he came through again a third time.
Mm-hmm.
He said, wait a minute. He said he was connected to someone who was with us, but she did not know a child who had died in a car accident.
So my question would be, which life? I mean, I'm a big proponent of multiple lives. I believe in past life, future lives, present lives.
I do.
Parallel. Right. Okay. So, you can have energies come through from another lifeline, from another lifetime, who come through and say, I knew you, or I know you now. I mean, there's stuff. The stuff is weird, you guys. It goes, I mean, really, you're going down
it is.
It is. So, okay. So I wasn't there, but it's interesting. So they worked with this little boy that he died, and they wanted to help him pass through to the white light. I'm assuming that's what you did, to the light. And a lot of times they will tell me it looks like a light. I've heard different things. So the proverbial white light, you help them move to. I always say this. It's not my decision for me to help them go through unless they ask for my help. So I never pushed that agenda on anybody. And I'm not saying you guys did either. But what happens sometimes, and I've had this happen before too, which you're explaining, where I work with this woman. She was transitioned, and she was actually walking around this hotel in Mexico for years, like century plus. She was late 1800s, and I ran into her early 2000s. So, 120 years or something. And she died, and I now look, I'm on vacation. I'm not there doing ghost hunting. I was there to go
Yeah.
golfing, to go to the beach, hang out, do some fun stuff with one of my friends. And I'll make make a long story short. Anyway, she bumped into me at night. I saw her, she saw me, and it started this whole odyssey of I had my friend brought her talking board. It was a glow in the dark Ouija board, and she brought it, and I said, "Oh my God, here we go." That means I got to talk to her now. But turned out that nobody talked about this place being a haunted place. Okay. I went down to breakfast the next morning and I spoke in my broken Spanish. La fantasma en mi cuarto esta noche. I don't know. I think I said there was a ghost in my room last night or this night. They're like, huh? And I said,
wow.
fantasmas estar aquí. I mean, are there ghosts here? And the guy goes, well, as a matter of fact, he goes, there's this woman. And he explained her to a T, the woman I saw, big bodice, puffy sleeve. Yeah. Dark hair pulled up in a comb and long white dress. She's always walking the beach at night, not, whenever they saw her. And they go up to her and say, ma'am, can we help you? And she would disappear. Now, this is an adult-only facility that I went to, a vacation place. Kids under 16 are not allowed, 16 and older. There's also this little girl that they would see every now and then. The stories started coming out after I told them I saw a ghost.
Yeah.
And then they said this little girl they saw that they haven't seen in months, but she somebody saw her run through the serving hall that morning, and she was throwing like napkins and plates and knocking things over. And I said, that's interesting because this woman told me that she was looking for her daughter. So the whole thing became this Ouija board experience, and she was looking for her daughter. Her daughter was brutally raped, and the mother was upset, threw herself in the ocean, drowned herself. It's a whole long story. If you want to know more about it, the story is in here. It's in here. It's one of my big stories. I love this story because what you just mentioned, Sarah. We talked to her and we were saying, well, would you like to move into the light? And she's like, no, I'm with my daughter. I don't want to go. And so what happened was she came back to visit me. Now I went back to California. We were down in Mexico, come back to California. 3 months later, I used the Ouija board with my friend again, and she came through. And she said, her name was Teresa. And she said, I'm ready to go see my loved ones in spirit. I said, okay, let me help you. And so we did this whole thing to help her go. And she went and she brought her daughter with her and she moved into the light. Now, that wasn't the last time I heard from her. She did reach back to me after she went into the light, Sarah. She already went in to the afterworld, whatever you want to call that space, and came back and said thank you after it was all done. She's like, hey, I just came back to say hi.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You can sometimes come and go, you guys. Don't think just because you're in that one space, you can't communicate out here. You can. So be prepared for a lot of really interesting stories when you start doing this work.
Yeah, definitely. Like what I've experienced over the last 7 years is crazy. It really is. And like the mediums even said that my past life, there is a link between my past life and this life. And I kind of know what it is. And I'm trying to prove it at the moment. And I've had a past life where I was actually in Nottingham in the 1200s, which is where I lived. And I was actually based in a location which I've investigated a few times. And by mentioning this story, somebody's picked up that person actually got me hung in Nottingham as well, which is another life. And I'm looking into this at the moment because it's absolutely amazing.
So how are you doing your research into that? Are you doing like literal research at the library or something, or what do you?
Well, I know his name. I've got to find out his year. He's frequented 4 locations, and he usually turns up there. My past life, the information given on that actually corresponded with Nottingham Castle. Originally, wooden structure mentioned the king.
Mm-hmm.
And then I died when Richard I, the Crusades came back. And that's when I got killed because somebody swiped me with a sword from horseback. And I was in the just outside the castle area selling my fruit, and I hate fruit on my fingers. I won't touch fruit because it's sticky.
Oh, to this day, okay.
Yeah, I know why. There you go. That's why, isn't it?
Well, it's a bleed through, probably. I mean, did you know that I used to do past life therapy as a therapist when I was a psychotherapist? Wow. And so what I found was it wasn't like I was trying to do past life therapy. It was more like I put them in a hypnosis state, and then I'd say, follow back the energy, whatever pattern in their life. Let's say they had a phobia, like you're talking about the fruit thing. I had people with phobias or people that had just different issues. It could be depression. We would follow the energy back to where it first started, and often on their own accord. I wasn't guiding them or directing them. I was just helping them go under, follow the energy back, and they'd go back to another life or even go into a future life. Now, here you go. It's where things get crazy, you guys. according to, we look into string theory and we look into some of the modern day quantum physics stuff, they're saying everything's happening now. I don't really know how to wrap my brain around that. But let's just say time, there's no sense of time in other dimensions where we have it here. So we can make sense of our own stuff. But in other dimensions, there's not necessarily a time thing. Even my guides tell me that. They go, we don't have a time like you have time. We have forever. There's no time. And they say, so when you do this past life work, it's not always past lives. People went to in-between lives. They've gone into future lives. They've gone into parallel lives. And so it's all affected. So what you find is, I call it a nesting effect, where you might have some residue in this life of fear, like so you said, of the fruit, touching the fruit, which started another life, which could be affecting you in another life, or if you don't deal with that residue. I know. So
mind blowing.
We would deal with the residue that was left, or the phobia, and they realize that happened in another life, or in a future or a parallel life, and they're dealing with that energy, and it changes the energy of the individual in both lives, or 3 different lives. Oh, it's just, you guys, the mind, we don't use enough of our mind. You guys all know that we don't use, I should say, our brain. We don't use enough of our brain. I think we use like 8%, 9%. If we could tap into what they call dark or junk DNA, we'd be using so much more of our own abilities. And what you find when you start doing this, like past life remembering or hypnosis, or even this work on the board, you start being able to access some of these abilities. So as I mentioned earlier, you might start developing your clairsenses. So you might start seeing things with your third eye that other people can't see. So this just goes on and on, you guys. It's pretty phenomenal. And I think it's great, Jacqueline, you're exploring this past life for yourself.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome. It's something I want to do this year. I nearly booked the location the other day, but I've got to wait until I've got someone going with me, because I don't want to be alone in the place with that particular spirit.
Yeah.
That'd be dangerous.
It might be scary too.
No, I don't do scared. I switched it off. It's humans I'm more scared of than spirits. Yeah, I don't do scared with spirits. But yeah, it's just the humans like hanging around and lurking around, isn't it?
I agree. It's the humans we should be afraid of, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Okay, so we've got the lovely Wes watching from Canada.
Hey, Wes. Shout out.
A great hi to both of us. Loves us both. Cheers, Wes. Okay. So do you ever get entities that are jokers that come through? And how do you know if it's an innocent humor or an entity that's trying to be deceptive?
Yeah, you'll get a lot of funny ones come through, or jokesters or tricksters. And you just, again, you're not going to know at first. It's going to take over time. When I was younger using this, I would get a lot of that, just messing around, saying silly things. And it was nothing bad, but like, oh, you're going to grow up and marry so-and-so, just silly, stupid things. Or like, tomorrow you're going to get an A on your test and maybe I got a B or a C, it's just dumb things like that. So that was as a child. But as you get older, when you're doing this work, you're channeling another energy from somewhere else. And the most important part is not the board. It's not the planchette. It's yourself. And so you got to really learn to trust yourself. And so I say, before you even do the board, I would say, get into a space where you're either meditative or you're centered. I always call it getting in your center, which is, I always do a breathing exercise. I visualize this light. I visualize love. And once you get in that energy space, it's more, I want to say practical, it's easier to attract those things. Aren't going to be so tricksters. Now, having said that, what's fun is you will find that a lot of these spirits that come through have a sense of humor. If they had a sense of humor when they were alive, or spirit guides are super funny. Oh my God, they're funnier than hell. They make me laugh all the time. I mean, I can't think of one session I do where they don't come through and say something really funny. And it's just like, who would think of that? So yeah, you'll get funny things too. But the trickster thing is, you can be deceived. You could be deceived even on a pendulum. You could be deceived in your EVPs. You could be deceived in life. So you've got to learn to trust this in here and become your own barometer to measure that yourself. You're going to start to see, and I should say, you're going to start to feel where it feels right or it feels like a trickster. And by the way, when I was younger in the olden days, like last year, just kidding. 10 years ago. So what I would do, and people would say to me, what are you doing? And I go, well, I would take my sleeve and I'd go, I'm brushing off the spirits. I'm getting rid of them. No bad stuff. And that was just a joke. It was tongue in cheek. But the truth was, it was symbolic and it represented, okay, that's gibberish. It's not making sense. They're being stupid and silly. Done. Bye, guys. All right, then let's start over again. And I highly recommend that when you're new at using this tool. I mean, take yourself seriously, take the work seriously. But you know what? If you need to do something like that, sage, smudge, burn some incense, or like I do, symbolically wipe the board off, do that. What I find now, after doing it for all these years, I just get on and it works, and I don't get any weird stuff anymore. Don't get weird stuff, because
that's cool.
I'm so used to me perfecting remember, you're the instrument, perfecting my own instrument, my own tool.
Yeah.
I am the tool.
Yeah, I'm still learning. I'm still learning about energies around me. I don't know. I know I've got spirit guides, but I don't recognize the energy that much. I'm learning. It is forever a learning process, isn't it?
Takes time. And you know what? I can recognize energy and go, there's something else here, and I don't know exactly who it is. Sometimes I'll see things in my mind or I'll feel it, but I can recognize every single one of the energies I speak with through the board, which is, I call it the pantheon of spirits, the Council of Karen. There's a lot of them, and I know exactly who's coming through because the way they move the planchette, the way the energy feels when I tap into them. And it's just, I call it spirit signatures. And you can sense it. And so anybody that really hones their tool, whether it's their tarot deck or again, their pendulum or something of that nature, you begin to recognize the energies as it moves. You just begin to recognize
I notice changes of energies. Yeah.
There you go.
I've been on the board and then I've noticed something different's come on.
You have? Okay.
Yeah, I've noticed that. And I've also noticed when they're lying as well. And I call them out.
And you should.
And I'll ask them a question which they've already given an answer to something. And I ask the same question in a different way, and then they'll give me the wrong answer.
You're like a teacher. Teachers do that. I love it.
But yeah,
that's great. So, that's how you perfect this. Again, don't take everything with the grain of salt in the very beginning. Take it as entertainment. When I say beginning, how long does that mean? People go, does that mean a month? Does that mean a week? Does that mean 2 years? Does it mean 10 years? It means whatever it means to you. So I would say, because I was so young getting started, from the age of 8 till about maybe 15, 16, all those years, maybe so call it 8 years, I was still perfecting. I didn't fully understand the function of myself with the board. I thought the board was something out here that did things. I didn't realize it was me that did it all. So then about the age of 18, going into college, in my 20s, I realized, wow, we're actually bringing in these energies. We're channeling them. And then it changed for me again. Now I realize I'm doing it all. Meaning my subconscious mind is tapping into these energies, and that's allowing them to work with me to move the planchette and get these incredible messages. So Jacqueline, where I am now, take the board away, I'm still able to channel. I'm still able to bring through these different beings and guides. In fact, when I do my readings, I'm doing readings without the board. I'm doing these readings for people all the time. I work with the guides, and the guides will come directly through my mind, download, and I hear what they want to say. And I get other people's guides coming through, and I'm saying, okay, this is your guide. He's not mine. I'm going to describe what he looks like to you, or this is what I'm getting a name, and this is what they want me to tell you. And I go, I don't know what this means, but you need to know. And that's what happens all the time. And my thing is, I can't get in the way. And same with the board. Learning to use this board, I couldn't, if I got in the way going, oh my God, what does this mean? Oh my God, what is that? If I get in the way, it stops the flow. Remember we were talking about this earlier, how you were able, Jacqueline, to get the planchette moving for you when we sat down together. Right. You got into the flow. You quit blocking it. We often will block ourselves from doing these things because it defies logical thinking that this works.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to say, oh, you're pushing it. Oh, it's the motor effect, or and I'm okay. Call it what you guys want to, but I'm just going to tell you, I do believe in the ideomotor effect, but I also believe my higher self is that part that is helping with the movement. So I have no problem with that. The thing is, it's so much more. I can't even explain everything that's happening here. I can just tell you it's happening. And for some reason it works.
I've encountered higher selves twice from 2 people. Wow. I'm so honored when they come through. That people were in trance at the time. One was Barry John, who obviously you know, and his higher self came through once, and oh wow, the message we've got was sublime. It's beautiful.
Can you share a little bit, what kind of what it said? Maybe the gist.
It was like I can't remember much. It's just like the way he was addressing us. You know, he was the way he's spoken to us. You know, and he offered some up about. I'm shocking at remembering things, but
yeah, I mean,
it was just so. I think I was so much in awe of what I was experiencing.
Yeah,
it was just
I
so
get
beautiful because
it touches you, right? Deeply, it touches you.
Yeah. My friend, she had And I don't know if it's her spirit guide or if it's a higher, but wow, when that
Mm.
one came through, it's just so beautiful. And you just feel great honor to be there when it's happening because you know it's something different.
Did you feel the energy too? Because I'll tell you
Yeah,
what, yeah, and that changes too. And I'll tell you, every time I get on the board, and every time I get on the board now, you guys, it's always the guides that come through. The guides. People go, "Are you saying the guys? Guys?" I'm saying, no, I'm saying the guides. So every time they come through, every single time, doesn't matter what board I'm on, doesn't matter if I make my own board. They come through for me always. That's what they come through. And when they come through, you guys, it's an unconditional love that flows. It just takes me to this exaltated place. I feel so high and I feel so clear, and I can just be pure with love and give my readings from that space. And the same when I sit down and do my readings, I get in that space, I bring them in, and then next thing I know, the love is flowing. And so I totally get what you're talking about, Jacqueline. When you get those beings that are just have your best interest at heart, and this kind of harkens back to what Wes was saying. How do you know, like in Decepted, you get this feeling inside that resonates
yeah,
so strongly and it feels pure
that's
and it
right.
feels like love. And yeah, and there's nothing quite like it. It's
Yeah, you know you've got to listen.
yes.
You're never going to try and talk over this person because I don't know. There's just something you have to listen.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was special. It really was.
It is
Like
special.
in my
And you
training,
feel
they sort of said if you're going to your higher self, you've got to ask a really important question, not something stupid, because they don't want to like waste the time.
I
Because they'll go, oh no, it's not worth it. So you've got to ask something really worthwhile. You're not going to say, oh, what am I having for dinner tonight? You've
yeah,
got you've got to have ask something meaningful.
right.
Um,
So you have something meaningful, then that changes the whole vibration of the energy of the spoken word. And therefore that's what you receive back. So it is this idea of calibrating your energy, and you could do it through word. People sometimes like to sing or meditate or just positive thoughts, whatever it is. And that will be kind of the springboard of where you go in that session. So to me, again, it's calibrating yourself before you start any of this, the paranormal work, or even using tools. Because when you do that, that's when you start attracting that vibration from that being. Something similar. It's like magnetics, you guys. It's something similar. So I think that's
yeah,
super important. And I always tell people it's beyond the board and the planchette. It's ourselves. It's ourselves that really have got to get centered, and we're the ones doing this work. So it's important to think about it that way.
yeah. Just got a few comments then. Carlos then. Um, on a past life a few times. He's been places that he's never been in his life or seen on TV. Yeah, he knows his way around area,
Mm,
like Whitby. So yeah, that potentially a past life, isn't it?
that's
Greg
cool.
Coss. He's done the same with his spirit boxes
Mhm.
and feels the same connection with the spirit guides, family past lives, especially the psychic connection and aliens. Um, Aliens have done nothing with he's done nothing with Ouija boards, but love you have had to have you down the road on his show, so that's
Well,
one for the
wonderful.
future.
Hey, you come to one show and you get invited to another. So
Yeah.
thank you, Greg. Reach out to me. I love talking about Ouija boards. I love using boards. I love collecting them. I love everything Ouija because, again, it's like a talisman. It reminds me of these incredible connections. It just
But you
it's
help people so much as
and
well.
it's artwork. You guys look at this stuff. These are some of the boards that have changed
Beautiful.
over the years.
So Chantal believes she's a witch killed in Salem witch hunt.
Ah,
Wow. Also definitely afraid of fire. The thought of death by fire. I also know
wow.
a person who said she's a witch and she won't walk over water. So she really has an issue with bridges.
I just got major chills on that when you just said that. I could see her being put in one of those pods and they drowned them. They just took them down in those
Yeah.
cages. Yeah, a lot of people have that when you're walking, like you were mentioning earlier. The gentleman was walking around the Whitby Castle and recognizes he's like, I know my way around, or you feel this great fear, or you just know you were somebody in that past life, or you had an experience. Now, I'm going to say something right now. If we're into the paranormal where we are now, we've had hundreds, if not thousands, of lives. I'm just gonna tell you guys. You've had many past and present and future lives all right now. You've had so many lives. So especially because your interest in the paranormal, spirituality, these kinds of metaphysical, supernatural things, I'm telling you, every single one of you in some life before, like we'll use the word past lives, it's easier to understand because we have this continuum we live on. So let's just say past lives. You obviously have had some kind of life where you were a healer, you were curandera, a shaman. You were doing this journeying work to understand the other dimensions, whether it was you communicate with the spirits, throwing bones, casting stones, and things of that nature, or you were doing something like Wicca, you were a witch or something, or a pagan, and you had the powers of the universe at your beck and call kind of thing. So we've all done many of these things before, but pay attention when you do go somewhere and you feel that affinity towards it, or even a person, and you go, oh my God, I connect with that person, or I connect with that place. Pay attention, because that's a signal that your soul, I call it soular, not cellular, soular, SOUL, that's your soul's memory saying, pay attention now. This is you, then, there, and now. How can you use this in your life? What could you pull into? So what I try to do is when I get that kind of thing, like I'm like, know that person. Try to act on it if I can, if I think the person's going to be receptive. If it's a place, I go, what do I need to know? Spirit, universe. Yeah, I talk to the guides. Show me what I need to know. And then, something happens. I might find a stone, or I might talk to a person, or something is uncovered. I'm like, yeah, that's it. It just makes you have like that much more to add to your, we'll call it your bank in life. It makes it sweeter, as we were talking about earlier. It makes you go, you know what? I will always exist. I never die. I live then, I'm still living now, and I will continue to exist, just another form. And maybe I'll come back and inhabit another body. But it just shows you that everything's so interrelated, interconnected, and your life is too. So pay attention to when you guys experience such things that you're sharing here.
I'll ask you a question then. Like, some people say that with the past life, then you've got the same characters in that past life as you have now. What do you think of that theory?
Well, I do believe we travel around in soul tribes, in soul groups.
Right, okay.
And you could say like an oversoul, and there's like there's like people that you resonate with more, and those are people that you'll probably be around and travel around life with, and lives plural with.
Yeah.
So I've had some past. I underwent many past life regressions on myself from a psychotherapist, a psychologist, before I studied to become one myself. And I just did many of them. And I found that a lot of my family members and close friends too were in those lives with me as different characters.
Yeah.
So yes, because you have this soul family, and you tend to go, you hang out together, you go, what's this all about, you guys? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Okay. So you hang out together to say, I can help you grow on these areas. And you go, well, I kind of need to grow in this area, like maybe be better in relationships, maybe a relationship with, mother, father, or something. And they say, well, I will play your mother, and I'm going to be pretty mean to you, but you're going to learn to grow through that. And they're like, okay, thank you. Let's do it. Shake hands. Boom, gone. Live your new life. You're like, oh my God, why would I pick a mother like that? Why would I do that?
Yeah.
Well, the truth is, you guys did make agreements. You call them soul agreements, contracts. They can be broken. I mean, you could change them. There's nothing set in stone when you're going down this path of past lives. So, well, when you're looking at your past lives and when you're living them out, you can definitely make changes. So think of it that way. So here you go. Everybody goes, oh, I want to meet my soulmate. By now, you've met many soulmates. Sometimes your brother you don't get along with is your soulmate. Sometimes that ex of yours 3 exes ago who was really not too nice, that's your soulmate, because they push your buttons and make you grow. Sometimes we fail to heed the call of growth that's being offered to us. Other times we step up to it and realize it 10 years later, oh my God, that's why that happened. So pay attention. There's a lot going on here. Like I said, everything's so interconnected. And again,
they say everything happens for a reason as well, don't they? And it does. It teaches you a lesson.
It does. But I gotta tell you, it's hard. When we're in it, we're like,
oh,
really?
Gosh, yeah.
Like I chose that? Really? But there's so many other things at play here. So it's not to say somebody that got like shot and killed is definitely chose that, but they chose their time of exit. And maybe there was a certain circumstance that lined up and there was time to go. So you got to look at it. There's so many, we can't just go, this fits all, as I'm saying. So take what I'm saying, even with a grain of salt. Nothing fits all. There's so many different other, what do I want to say? Different levels of interaction occurring that we're not even aware of consciously. So I'm just trying to put it in a very light format so we can just at least start thinking about these things.
Yeah, I've got a comment here from Chantal. Her brother's girlfriend is a Kind of so. Yes.
Kinesiologist.
Yes, that's the one.
That one.
And a lecturer did a past life regression on them, and it turns out she and my brother were connected in love in a past life.
Oh.
Oh, so that's so lovely.
And so she says they're true soulmates. Yes, you guys, you can have many soulmates in one life too.
That's
So let's
beautiful.
don't get ourselves just too entwined in that. But that's, yes, absolutely. And your soul family, they're all like soulmates, to be honest with you, because you guys are helping each other in between lives.
Yeah.
So let's say you had a really hard relationship with somebody who just recently transitioned. Let's say it was your father. I'm just picking these out of the air.
Yeah.
Let's say it was your father, and you had a bad relationship with him, and he transitions. Trust me, he's growing on the other side. He's still evolving and learning. And I say the other side just to keep it simple, but really it's not.
Yeah.
Just energy. They're right here, you guys. They're like this far from us. Hi. You just like touch them. Hi. But they're growing and evolving too. And as they grow and evolve, what happens is those connections, like the psychic links you have back to that person when they were incarnated, that's also healing. So as they're growing, evolving, they're helping heal you. As you heal here, you're helping them even in another dimension. We're all interconnected, interrelated.
Yeah. It's amazing. It really is, isn't it? The more
It's
you look into
amazing.
it's mind blowing. So, have you ever encountered an energy that is so strong that it's overwhelmed you to the point where you've had to shut everything down?
Well, I get energy a lot that's overwhelming, but overwhelming, like I'm so excited to have it. But I think what Wes is talking about, and I appreciate these. You guys look like good comments and questions. All right, so yes, I have, and it's when I was younger, I used to like to do the Ouija board in the graveyard. Let's just say.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
I was, I wanted to explore and see, is it better in the
That's
graveyard?
right.
Right. And they say, don't do that. Well, use the board where you want to use it, but be smart about it, right? And yeah, I've had some energy that are so strong that come through because they just can't wait to interact with you. And so be prepared for stuff like that, if it happens. And so, yeah, I have shut it down. I said, they're like, what's going on? I take my board and I go, well, we're leaving now. I'm going to wipe it off. We're done. We're out of here. Yeah, because the energy was so strong and it just had so many things to say and I could feel it. It was overwhelming because I'm very sensitive. I feel energies. And they're like, oh, let's get out of here. Plus, we're spooking ourselves a little bit. So I've had that when I was younger. Older
Yeah.
now, no, not so much now, but I do get overwhelming. Like when I do readings, I used to do a lot of readings on the Ouija board for people, and now I'm doing it just directly. But I will get so overwhelmed with emotion, and I say I have to tell you what I'm feeling because I'll pick up on the energies of what somebody's trying to communicate, and I'll tell them, and it's often very overwhelming. I won't shut anything down because I just learned to separate from it. Where I go, that's not me, that's their energy, and I'm willing to feel it. And so I
Yeah.
can express it and share it, and I'm willing to do that. But it doesn't take a toll on me because I've learned as a therapist to separate myself from that, so I'm not drained. In fact, I'm energized usually afterwards.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
brilliant.
but that is overwhelming energy, and we could look at it in both ways. So it could be negative overwhelming and then positive overwhelming, meaning you just feel so much emotion come through. I mean, I had some sessions that were so awesome in terms of getting messages from somebody's loved one and just the grief they were feeling, and the messages come through and these people to cry. I mean, just those gut wrenching
Oh,
cry. And I was feeling it. I was like, that's not even my person. I know. I don't even know this person. But you just get into you caught up in the emotion of it and you feel it. And that's overwhelming too. But when it's like that, I'm helping heal, I won't shut it down. And then later on, I will, you might do a little cleansing thing, and showering is always good, saging,
yeah.
say a prayer, centering, getting away from the work and going outside, grounding yourself. There's things you can do to definitely help yourself when it's either positive or negative in terms of being really overwhelming. Great
Wow.
question. Comment too.
I've got a comment from Max. Trying to get it. He gets drained in some of the sessions, and he says, "I guess it's normal." So Karen's basically covered that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Max. Yeah, I'm glad you're here. So look, you can get drained in sessions. It's here we go. I want to explain this. It's very common when you first start using the board to get some kind of physical symptoms, meaning you might get a headache, you might feel dizzy, you might feel drained, you just might get really tired afterwards. And it's because this is what I've been told from the guides that I work with. They've explained this to a lot of people who work with me or have come to the sessions, and even people sitting in the room with the sessions, because the energy is coming through. It's strong. It's coming through. They're feeling it. They don't know what they're feeling, but something's going on. And next thing you know, they're just like, oh, I'm worn out. And it's because your body is going from this frequency vibration I'm not used to. And your body's actually releasing, let's just call it toxins, or purging itself to be calibrated to another vibration. Now, I'm not saying one's better or worse or higher or lower. I'm just saying your body is constantly reading your body without even thinking about it. Your heart is actually, they call it the mini brain. It actually has the cells in it like the brain has. It feels before your brain even registers. So your body is constantly, when you're doing this kind of work, if you're doing the paranormal investigations in haunted places, locations, or you're just doing the Ouija board or something, you're calibrating to the energy that's going to come through. So your body's going to purge or use it or, discard it, or it's going to let go of stuff too. So people do find they get headaches or tired. I did write a whole article about this, a blog on my website. So check that out for sure. I forget what it's called, but I got all kinds of stuff on there. But yeah, that's a common thing. And by the way, you guys know Rodney, my board partner, when we were working together in the very beginning, he would get headaches. He's like,
oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
And he's like, is that normal? And I go, unfortunately, it kind of is for some people. So, he went through it and finally he sits down now with one hand. He's like this, da, 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 and no problem at all. So you just calibrate yourself with any kind of energy. And there, Nancy, Nancy Bliss. Hi, Nancy. Thank you for joining us here. She's mentioning calibration. That's important, you guys. Again, before you do any of this kind of work, and I'm going to throw it into the category of channeling, mediumship, psychic work. You talk to any people that do any of these readings, they're calibrating themselves. They may not choose that term to use. It's a good term to use here, but they might call it getting centered, getting grounded, getting prepared for the work, meditating. It's like shifting yourself into that space so you know that you can take on this energy because you are working with other frequencies. That's what you are doing.
I tried the Estes method yesterday, and then all of a sudden I felt really sick because I work from the stomach as well. So
a lot of people do. Their solar plexus, stomach. Yeah, right. Absolutely right. People get nauseous.
I just had to quit in the end. I wasn't getting that much through, so I thought, nah, I don't want this anymore.
What's important there? Okay, you're getting physical sensations, and that's a good thing because that means your body's waking up and your body's doing what it's supposed to do. But now the key is this: where people get burnt out when they're a therapist, a hypnotherapist, a body worker, Reiki practitioner, doing Ouija board and all the stuff we're talking about. You can do in the other dimensions and the other energies. You've got to find a way to get yourself back. Okay, that's going to be key. If you're feeling these body sensations, say thank you, body, because your body is awake and alive and working like it's supposed to. It's recognizing, it's experiencing things. Then you got to find a way to get yourself back. I'm telling you, a shower.
I can do that.
Yep, you can do that now. Shower's a good one, you guys. Drinking a lot of water is a good one. Yeah. You got to find a way to ground yourself too. Good.
It takes a while to know how to do things.
Oh, this is not overnight, you guys.
But like cleansing is good, isn't it? Under the shower, the water and everything, that does help.
Cleansing is great. And I have water right here. When I'm doing these talks, I get the vibration going through me. I use water. Water's a great way of cleansing yourself internally. Okay. And it really does cleanse you. So you think about things of that nature. And some of you might want to bring in a talisman, a stone. I mean, when I do my readings, I have my labradorite with me all the time. I have other stones with me depending on who I'm reading for. And it's just, yes, they have a vibrational pattern to them. But also it serves as a reminder of what I'm trying to do here. I'm opening up the higher chakras so I can bring the energy in, but I'm also staying grounded so I can keep my wits about myself and not take on their energy. So there's a lot of things you can do. And I highly recommend anybody who's doing any of this paranormal, supernatural work, metaphysical, this kind of stuff we're talking about, spiritual, is to take classes and courses, study from people that have been doing this for a while, read books. I got to tell you, in the 90s, I did so many classes, and I was also a practicing therapist, but I was doing classes. I was getting my CEUs, my education units, but I was also doing this because I was learning how to work with my own energies, realizing that was a necessity to do any kind of work with other people, whether it was the psychotherapy or spiritual work, such as the readings. So you guys take classes and it'll only make you stronger and learn how to work with your different senses in your body. Yeah, it helps.
It is brilliant, but it takes a while. I tend to get overshadowed, but I kind of welcome that. I kind of invite them, which maybe I shouldn't. But now I realise how to push them away. Mm-hmm. But it did take a while. It's also to recognise their energy when they're around you as well.
Well, listen, it's important to have boundaries. You have boundaries with the living. You have boundaries with those in others in spirit or in other dimensions. It's important to have boundaries and to really know, but the only way you can set boundaries is to have boundaries set within yourself and say, I respect myself enough that I'm not going to take on all that energy. That's that. And when I leave this space, I'm going to go, and this is my space. So that's valuable. That's like what you got to start with first is what are your boundaries, and then start setting those. And I do that with the board. And now it's just a natural response now. It just automatically happens.
That's cool. Quick shout out then. We've got Roxanne Irvine. Hiya.
Roxanne in the house. Hey.
We've got Abigail Victoria Haler.
Hey. Hiya. Hey, Abby. Great. Abigail. Yay.
Sage. Yeah.
That's right. You guys, miss you all.
Oh, okay. Nancy uses sea salt and lavender bath and water.
You guys, soak it in a tub, the salts, the mineral salts, the bentonite clay. That's a wonderful way to cleanse, also to relax. The lavender is great for that too. I do like those lavender baths at night myself. That's fantastic. So thank you for sharing that, you guys.
Yeah, that really helps.
See, you guys, we have a lot of really cool healers and witchy people in this room tonight. I can tell you that right now. And I know a lot of you guys, so I know.
Oh, okay. So Abigail, did you look into the biological sciences and mechanisms we once talked about?
I did. And I can't remember what I found, but I have all that stuff written down. I did some research and I was like, oh, this stuff is intriguing. Yeah. That was 2018, wasn't it? I think it was 2018. I still have those links, by the way. And as I recall, it started verging onto the area of consciousness, which is really what I'm exploring now is consciousness.
Wow.
Yeah, everybody's very helpful.
So for people who have never done a board, then there's so many ways, like say, oh, you've got to do this before you open it, or you've got to do that. What is your advice to people when they want to open a board?
Well, yeah, and it's very interesting. You guys notice that she said open the board, and that's I think it's more of a UK thing, right? That's you guys said that over in England. I guess we might say it here too. I would just say start my session. But people think it's about opening, and I guess if you want to look at it that way, you can. I mean, if this is what you want to think of, so let's use I love it. Let's use the metaphor or analogy of opening, because there's an opening and closing. That'll make it simple that way. So let's say you want to use the board. Think of it like this. You're going to open a door into this really sacred room. And in that sacred room, what happens there stays in there. Kind of like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Okay, so you open this door into this special room. This room is set up to be sacred for you. So when you pull your board out to use, I got my 1973 circuit board here. I would put this down. This one I keep always wrapped up and put away. Other boards I have out, like some boards behind me, you see. And then I get it out and I'm thinking, all right, we're doing a session. So when I'm starting a session, I'm going to say, how can I make this sacred? Now, the reason why I use the word sacred is because it's me coming to the space with respect, with honor, with integrity, and seeing it as this is going to be a connection, a communication, and I'm going to honor that. So I make it sacred. So it might be burning a candle. It might be just having some stones out if that's what you like to do. For me, I just like to sit there with my partner, and we will usually do a breathing exercise. We'll hold hands. I do the circuitry exercise. I talk about this in my books, especially this book. And the first book, the book I wrote too, this one here too, I talk about those exercises. It's a way to get yourself into the space and get yourself ready mentally and emotionally and physically to do this work. So that would be like opening doors, stepping into a sacred room, doing your breath. And then I always like to say an invocation or a prayer, something to start me out, which includes my intentions. Why I'm doing this work, what's the purpose of it, and then in that same phrase, it's usually a paragraph. It's relatively quickly. You guys have heard me on shows doing this. The idea is to get us all to raise our vibration to the same place, because by stating the intentions. And I also like to bring in the white light and love, and only ask for those who have our best interests at heart to come through. And then I talk about the intentions of the group. What are we doing here? What kind of information do we want? And then boom, we start. And at that point, it's like we might laugh, we might joke, and then we do the board. But I'm always saying joking because we're working with the guides, and they're telling me something funny. We'll go, ha ha ha, that's funny, and then it's like that kind of thing. But it's still very sacred. It's very respectful. and when the messages come through, it's like you take the time for the messages. One thing I want to tell you guys, I see this all too often. This is where you ruin the session. And I mean by ruin is you're never going to learn to progress on the Ouija board unless you can learn to not just go yes, no, and ask questions where they open-ended, where they have to spell it. And then you get better by doing that. Instead of going, you go, oh, I just want the answer. Is it yes or no? So what my guys do to be funny, they'll go, why? They'll spell it out, Y-E-S, but, and they go on for a whole sentence. Now, you guys have watched my shows. You'll see them do that because they're like, no, we're not going to give you a yes, no, because there's so much more to what we're saying. And that's because of the respect we have for them. And we also want to honor that. And so you'll find when you do those things, that's like opening, being in the session. It's like allowing the energies to take their time to learn to use this tool. It's not an easy tool to use, even in other dimensions. Now if you want to think about the analogy of closing it, I always in this session, I always say, thank you so much for the connections. Even if I got gibberish that session, work with somebody new, I'm still going to thank them for the time, thank my partner for the time. And it just feels a lot better that way. And then I say, okay. And then we say goodbye. And I'm telling you guys, it doesn't have to go to goodbye.
Wow,
Mine never does. You've seen this before. It just stops here and I can feel the energy, like it dissipates, it lifts. And I just go, goodbye.
That's brilliant.
But that's the same way, you say goodbye to people in different ways. Okay. So the way the guides like to work, and I find that a lot of the spirits that come through tend to work the way they work, because the people that the guides, the different energies I work with in the other dimensions help facilitate sometimes the communication from the other side. They work that way too. They just stop. And then I just say, you know what? Thank you guys so much. We'll talk again sometime. Then you close the door by leaving the space, drinking your water, maybe going in another room, maybe having a conversation. But that's what you do. You just, if I could say one word that I want you guys to remember is sacred. Sacred. This is sacred work, you guys. This is sacred work to reach into the dimensions. It's sacred.
So, Abby, remember we had Polish language once in sentences on the board?
Yes.
Unexpected.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, you guys, different languages come through. And I've experienced it, as Abby's talking about. I had Spanish come through when I was in Mexico, and I know broken Spanish, so she was able to say, sus, to me. And I'm like, oh, sus, too. Like, you scared me. I was like, you scared me. And then I go, I got to do English, guys. I got to do English. But they'll come through in another language. I've had Latin come through. I mean, you guys, French, I've had different languages come through and things I don't understand, like extraterrestrial stuff. And it's what it is. Then you go, I need somebody here that can bring it into a language I understand. And so you start developing interpreters or gatekeepers or master mistresses of ceremony on the dimensions. You start meeting these other beings that can be on that dimension and help with the communication and translate the information so it comes through in a language you understand. So that's how that works. And then it gets translated back to their language. So when I talk to the animals, when they come through, they don't go woof, woof, meow, meow. Although that's cute. In fact, one time they did do that just to be funny. They'll come through in English because what happens is the interpreter that I work with on the other dimension I call this interpreter just Papa. He said, just call me Papa. I'm like the guides to you as I am to the animal species. And he will translate any language of any animal, insect, and communicate on their behalf and say, this is what they're indicating they want to tell me to tell you. Wow. And so there's a translator. Yeah, you guys, this is the rabbit hole stuff we're going down now.
I wasn't aware that you communicated with animals before.
You haven't?
No.
Oh,
I've had somebody on my show who's spoken to animals. My bird decided to join in.
Well, you guys, listen, I'll tell you, this is a really cute story. It's in this book. I didn't know. I never thought of talking to animals, on a board. No, this is all on the Ouija board, you guys. So it was 1996, because I met the guides in 1994. I met the angels in 89, 90, 91, 92. And I was talking to the angels and all that, and extraterrestrials. So I was talking to my angel named Mary, and she said, you know what? She goes, you're not going to believe who wants to talk to you. Now, she's on the board spelling this out, okay? I said, okay, cool, whatever. I talked to a lot of beings. It's all good. She's like, no, you're not going to believe this one. I'm like, bring it on. So my partner and I are using the board, and it slows down, goes a little different direction, and it spells out, Hermes cat, I love you. Now, I had a big fat pumpkin orange cat sitting in a rocking chair. Like, he'd love to sit in the rocking chair. We did the board. He sat right there and watched us, or go to sleep. His name is Hermes.
Wow.
And I said, well, he's not dead. She goes, doesn't have to be dead. And
Yeah.
she's like, I'm like, did he just, she goes, yes, he want me to tell you he loved you. I go, how does this work? I mean, he doesn't speak English, does he? She goes, he gives us his energy of his feelings and we interpret those into words and make sure it matches his vibration of what he's trying to communicate. They always tell me vibration never lies. You can read vibration anywhere. And that's what your
Yeah.
body's doing when you do this work. You're reading vibration and you're channeling it. So that's when he started it. Hermie's my big fat pumpkin cat. The story's in here. There's a whole chapter in here about talking to animals. And I to this day, I still talk to a lot of different animals. My cats, you guys might know a couple of my cats that have transitioned a few years ago. Panzer the black cat and Jack the black and white cat. I talk to them, still come through. We talk to them all the time. I talk to my very much alive white cat named Bear. He talks to me through the board all the time. And he can talk to us other ways. So you guys remember this. Again, it's not the board, it's yourself. You are the one working the board. You're the one channeling. It just so happens the theatrics and the way it comes through is through the board. And you are very separated from it when it comes through. It's like I just write and just go really fast and I don't know what it's saying. And next thing you know, the animals are talking. So yeah, if you haven't tried animal communication, definitely try it. You guys be patient with it because it's a whole different energy and it might take a while to get used to. What's Nancy saying? Oh,
I love this. You really normalize use of Ouija, like using a phone to reach from the other side.
thanks, Nancy. Hi.
That's awesome. That's
It's
brilliant.
so funny because I call it my great cosmic phone. Once
Yeah.
I started in 89, I said, why can't I talk to my higher self? Why do I have to talk to dead people? And I thought, you know what? There's angels out there. I had Dacky. Why can't I talk to these other beings I know exist? Because I've seen extraterrestrials and I've seen Dacky, and I said, I know those beings exist. So we did our higher self for 4 years. I talk about that whole odyssey in here too, because what I realized looking back now, when we were talking to our higher selves, it was a matter of learning to calibrate our bodies to connect with that part of ourself, which is greater than what's in our body, but our part of ourself that exists back to the divine, which exists in eternity. It's like getting in touch with your soul, but it's your higher self that takes care of you through all your incarnations. And this higher self can really empower you. And as we began talking to our higher selves, that's when I realized we were changing our frequency to connect with the extraterrestrials, then to connect with the angels, then to connect with the guides and all these other beings I've talked to, and then to connect with the animals. And it just goes on from there. So the possibilities are endless when it comes to communicating with all the different dimensions and all the different species and beings that are in there.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome.
It is. It's a phone, you guys. It is a cosmic.
So mind blowing, isn't it? You know,
better than a cell phone, you guys.
That you can do these things. So Michelle had it before when a person's not dead and just wanted a picture out of a drawer, couldn't walk to it, so I had to pass the message on to relatives. And Nancy's just nodding her head.
That's great. Yeah, Nancy.
Your knowledge is fantastic. It really is.
So you guys, seriously, I love when you share your stories of things you're doing. We just by our birthrights, we all are clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient. There's like, I think 7 or 8 clairs, or might even be 9. All these clairs, we have the ability to do all these things, but we typically don't because we've been told in our culture and society, don't do that. You can't do that. That's wrong. It's all fake. Science says it's not real. It's idiomotor. It's not, it's fake. It's your mind, imagination. And guess what? Imagination, you guys, is very much real. And imagination is what in your mind where you kind of begin to believe in these possibilities. And that's how you can draw them to you. The world's alive, and I'm going to go further and say the universe and the galaxies are alive, and it's just teeming with life forms that we don't even know about. And think about it: we keep finding new life forms in the ocean. You think we're done exploring? No, just when you think you understand, there's so much more that keeps popping out. And even look at quantum physics, where they're taking it to now. I mean, they're telling us things that we never thought were possible, such as consciousness and what consciousness might possibly be. I mean, we don't even understand dreams. Why we even have dreams? I mean, we have theories. So if anything today, you guys, as we're talking, it's not about you using the Ouija board, okay? Unless you want to, and then, hey, check me out, check out my work. But it's really about, this is my mission when I do this work, is to help people understand the possibilities to exploration and discovery in the world are endless. And I just so happen, I love to explore consciousness. And that's what I'm doing. I'm exploring different levels of consciousness, tapping into it.
That's amazing what you do. And, you're just so knowledgeable, and it's about people expanding the minds, isn't it?
Expanding the mind,
And
expanding the
sort of
heart.
looking further afield from what they know and understand.
Yes, because as children, we come to this world and we can call it magical. We can call them creative. We are so in touch with where we came from that we totally know who we are. And it's sad when a lot of times we just as our culture, our society, our humanity, we usually shut that down. There was a time many moons ago, many eons ago, where children were heralded more and seen as great prophets that came into the world. And I know there's certain kids that are coming in and the families that are really supporting that. But I think a lot of us in our age, we might not have been so much. I wasn't. I was told to stop doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Bless my parents' heart, because now they're 84 and they're like, okay, what are you doing now? Hey, and they know it's all real for me. They just go, maybe not for us, but they know, so you see full circle. But the thing is, you guys don't give up on yourself on this, and believe in your abilities. I mean, the abilities are endless. I'm just touching the surface on this, and I'm still trying. I'm still exploring. I'm just touching the surface.
I've got Max. When people will ask me again why I do Ouija, I replied exactly that, to explore consciousness.
Awesome. That's wonderful. And that's what you're doing. And you're exploring your ability to expand your consciousness so you can tap into other consciousness.
Yeah.
And I keep going back and saying this. It's so interconnected, interrelated. Everybody goes, oh, that's such a new age phrase. Well, guess what? As you start exploring this stuff, you start realizing how connected everything is, including the people you live with or know in your lives and your past lives. It's all so related, and it's through consciousness that we're able to do this work. It's through opening our consciousness up to the possibilities. If you're not open to the possibilities, you won't be able to do this. You're going to go, oh, it's all fake. It doesn't work. But when you start opening up, you're going to realize it may not be the Ouija board. It may be also you have this experience that you cannot define with sscience. And I know everybody out here has had that, because you would not be interested in exploring this stuff if you didn't already have that awakening, or something happened to you that's going, yeah, there's a little bit more out there. I gotta check this out. Check this out. Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful. Right, so we'll look at what you're doing now then.
What?
So we discussed earlier you're doing a couple of paracons.
Oh, yes. Okay. So you guys, listen, I met this wonderful lady, Jacqueline, right here. I met her at Sage Paracon UK. Now I know there's one coming up in July that MJ Dixon puts on, and I met a lot of you there, Abigail, all you guys. So look, we have one going on in the United States. It's going to be in Virginia. It's Memorial Weekend. Let's hope it's happening right now, you guys. Things get all weird, with COVID, but right now it's happening. And I think we have 2 spots left. If you want to go, reach out to MJ Dixon. You'll find it on my website under upcoming events. You can just reach out to her, go click the link, and you can go there. That's going to be fun. That's in Port George. Where it is Port George, Virginia, at Belle Grove Plantation, which is a well-known place for the Revolutionary War. There's a lot of activity there, so I'm told. And what I like about this workshop or this program is I get to teach a workshop that will be long, several hours. And I'm going to sit down with every single person that comes to my workshop to learn to use the board, just like I did with Jacqueline and when I was in the UK. I don't always get to teach this workshop because it does take time and there's always so many other things going on. But here I'm asked to do that. I also will be talking and speaking about certain subjects. It's always something new when I speak. I'm kind of leaning towards more about spirit guides, maybe, or that level, but I'm not sure yet. But it always has to do with the Ouija board and also off the board. But I will teach you how to use the board there. Now, I will also be at Michigan Paracon, which is the one that's in Sault Ste. Marie at the end of August. I think it's the 25th to 27th this year. Talking Board Historical Society will also be there. I'm going to go and give a whole lecture, and it will be definitely about the Ouija board and a lot of the stuff we're talking about today, but it'll go even further, the things I haven't been able to talk about here. So I'll be doing that there as well. I also want to mention there's this really cool documentary coming out, and there's a lot of people from the UK in it. So we got Paul Stevenson, we have Penny, we have Barry Guy. There's a few others too from the UK, and it's called Spectre or Spectacle, and it's the history of paranormal. And that's going to be coming out in 2022. I feel so honored to be a part of that. A gentleman named S.J. Evans, who's a great film producer and from the UK, reached out to some of us Americans, and then of course the UK people. And so it's across the pond. We're talking about the history of paranormal, and it's similar, but yet there's differences between the UK's development or the England's development versus the United States development. So we get into all that. Of course, I talk about the Ouija board, of course.
Yeah,
So,
that's intriguing because for a lot of people in the UK, it was down to a TV show called Most Haunted.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah, and much as though a lot of people say things now, it actually got me into it, and a lot of people will admit that that's where they realised they could do it, and
That's
got
awesome.
them interested. But yeah.
Yes, I don't know when that documentary's coming out. He said it'll be this year. If you go to my website and you want to join my newsletter, that'll keep you updated what's going on. I also in my newsletter release about every 4 to 6 weeks. I don't hammer you with a bunch of stuff. It's just telling you what's going on, where the events are, the recent interviews I did or something. If you want to catch up on any of this information, join us there or whatever. You could join me there. But you guys check out my YouTube channel. And also, like I said, my website, lots of blogs, free stuff. I do a lot on YouTube. That's just free stuff. It's all about the board, you guys. It's all about us exploring, consciousness again.
Brilliant.
And I think 2 keywords. The first keyword about the board I wanted you to hear today was sacred. The other 2 words I want to say are subsidiary, which would be exploration and discovery. That's what life's about. So that's what I try to share with people, is that this gives you an opportunity to do that at another level if you choose to use a board.
Has anybody got any more questions for Karen about anything along paranormal side, Ouija side, anything in particular?
And if not, I would like to talk to you a little bit about the board progression of the board.
Yeah, go ahead. That's cool.
So what I have back here, you guys, I'll show you. I have a lot of boards. I think I'm up to, well, my fellow collectors have hundreds. Okay, so I have a small collection. I think I'm up to 65, somewhere in that number. I keep.
I saw that at Sage. Were they yours or Calvin's?
Oh, Calvin. Okay, when I saw you the first time I brought my own boards. The second time, those were mostly Calvin's. I think I brought 2 boards. Yeah, Calvin has 100+ boards. Most everybody in the talking board has 100. Robert Murch has 1,000. I have a mere 65, and I'll tell you why. You only need one board. You only need one board to use them. One board, but I do like collecting them. So this board back here, that's a circa 1892, 93. The Ouija board came out in 1891. So it's my oldest board. And I want you to notice on that board, you'll see a black dot in one corner and there's a moon on the other. That actually was a full moon, you guys. It was never a sun. That became later. So this board here, you can see the moon has starting to get a face on it. Here, I'll pull that in so you can see it closer. And this right here is a circa 1919 board. Notice the moon here starts to get a face. And notice this moon, crescent moon, does not have a face. So you start to notice things like this in the board. I like pointing this out. I call it the progression of the planets. Well, that's my own made up name. This is more of a modern day board. Well, it's circa 1967. It is when Parker Brothers bought William Fuld. Oops, I'm gonna knock everything over here. And 1967 is when they Parker Brothers bought William Fuld, the Ouija board from them. This is actually a Parker Brothers board. Notice now how it's now a sun. Has a face on it, became a sun. And this is just the moon now. It's got a little face on it too. So you can see things like that on the boards, and every board is different. This is called, I want to show you this one. This is called the Deluxe Wooden Edition board. Mine's in such great shape. And I bought this more recently, like in the last 10 years. Here's the box. It still has a really nice box. Now I'm going to show you this, you guys. Look in the back of the box. It says Ouija. It says, wait, can you read that word? Can you see that? How to pronounce it? You could pronounce it Ouija or Ouija. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. It was originally made to say Ouija, and I know that because it was on the back of this box that a planchette came in. It says pronounce Ouija, and the original patent said call it Ouija. But over the years, because people say Ouija, it's okay to say Ouija. You can say Ouija or Ouija. Okay, just want everybody to know that.
Ouija's easier.
Ouija's fun, right? Like a squeegee. Ouija's, but I try to say Ouija more often because I kind of want to pay my tribute, to the original naming of it. Now, you guys, a lot of people ask me, does any board work? Can you make your own? And you know what I'm going to say, Jacqueline. What do you think I'm going to say?
Yeah.
Okay. So here, I'm going to show you a board that was gifted to me. I'm very fortunate. People are so kind. They send me boards they make for me. And there's a board I want to share. I have a lot of these different boards, but this one's from a dear friend of mine. Her name is Lauren Morris. Some of you people might know her. She's in the Ouija board groups. She's a witch. She's an awesome artist. So she made this board. It's called the Luna board. Luna for moon. And I love it. It's round. So she reached out to me and said, Karen, I'm going to make this board for you. And she said, ask the guides if they want to put some kind of message on the back of the board. And the guide said, well, heck yeah, we do. And so this is what they wrote. They did this during the session. And then Lauren says, you know what? I'm going to woodburn that on the back of the board for you. And it says, so remember, this is a Luna board. So that's a moon. It says, follow the moon into the darkness. And when the light again falls upon you, you will see that you are forever changed. Wow. And it said the guides. So it was dedicated in the back for me. Now, let me show you what's cool about this board too. So this board came with this planchette. You guys.
Gorgeous that is.
What happened? Okay, she didn't kill any animal. I want you to know she didn't kill any insect. What happened was one season where she lives, a bunch of these Luna moths just were laying on the ground in the morning. They just died, like a mass exodus. That happens sometimes with species, right? Not knowing why, she picked them up and kept them, and she encased it in resin. And see that little Luna moth in there?
Wow.
So I got a Luna moth for the Luna board, and she was able to take something that was going to be that died on its own, and she preserved it, and now it's a planchette. Isn't that fantastic?
That's beautiful.
I just cherished that so much. That she was able to take something that died and make it into beautiful art. Yeah, and you know what? Life is art, and death requires a special art to it as well. Maybe that's why I'm also intrigued with the board, because death is such a prominent part of life we don't want to discuss, and it is. Everybody's going to do it.
Yeah, that's right.
We all have to do it at some point, and we don't always want to talk about it. But I love being a part of the paranormal community because we are talking about it. We're exploring it. Mm-hmm.
We're more open because we know it happens, and we accept, and we sometimes can talk past the life, can't we?
That's very true.
We try and connect to the afterlife. So,
and I think it helps with grief to be able to do that. And although
it helps painful, with grief, yeah.
It's going to be painful, but still, it's something that we do have to address eventually. So my hat's off to all of you guys out there who are doing this work and are interested in this work, because you are doing a lot more than most people can know how to do. Most people don't want to avoid. They want to avoid the subject of death.
Yeah. It is a fascinating world, and the longer you do it, you've just got more and more questions, haven't you?
Oh, yes. I mean, like I said, I'm scratching the surface. And I never think I'm done with the board, but just when I think, oh, that's cool. And I go, oh, there's something else over here. Oh, we got to explore that now. Like this whole animal thing, animal communication. You guys, here, I'll let you in on a little secret. You can also talk to plants. Now, a lot of you guys already do. A lot of you have a green thumb. Why? Because you send your energy out in vibration to the plants and they respond to you. My grandmother was such a person like that. Anything around her would grow, but just, think about that. You might be able to communicate with that tree.
Yeah. I've kind of got images from holding a tree before.
Did you see?
Yeah. It's just like holding any object, isn't it?
It's like psychometry. Exactly.
Psychometry. That's the one.
You can grab a tree, hug a tree, and you might all of a sudden start getting images. You might get thoughts and feelings, and just go with it. Instead of saying, "Oh, I'm making this up," just go with it. You don't have to tell anybody. Just go with it. See what you get. I mean,
no, don't tell anyone. I just have.
Yeah, you just tell the whole world.
Yeah, it's fine.
Listen, I'm already out there, so it's okay. I think I saw a question from a gentleman. I think he was asking me about.
Yeah. Do you have any planchettes that light up?
I do. Unfortunately, Hasbro made this one planchette. Don't have it anywhere near me right now, but they made this one board. It's a cardboard board with this terrible cover on it. I did a whole review on it, actually. It's on my YouTube channel. But the board had this heavy planchette, and you put batteries in it, and it lights up, and it goes over the board, and it shows the words that are hidden in the board. My friend Marla Martinson gave it to me because she's like, this is dumb. The planchette's heavy. It was horrible. And we all complained, but they came out and created a lighter planchette like this. And now the board is really nice. But I have that one that lights up. Now, my friend Jean Orlando has one that was made back in the war era, World War II, which is made out of metal and lights up as it goes over certain letters. If you want to see that board, you want to go to museumoftalkingboards.com. Museumoftalkingboards.com. By far, the best website out there on all things Ouija board or talking board related. This guy was the first man on the internet with this information. Good colleague of mine. We did a 5-part series you can see on my YouTube channel too about we go through it. He shows that board. He shows the board and the light up part, how it lights up. So that's a really cool one. But I do have one that lights up, and I've seen other ones too, like Jeans. So that's a great question.
That's brilliant.
But you can't have a planchette too heavy. Now, yes and no, you can. Okay, so I'm really good at using the planchette and board, and my board partner Rodney is too. So we can pretty much put anything. Like we've done this before. I'll show you. We've taken just a regular iPhone and we placed it down. It's pretty heavy, and we put our fingers on there, and it starts moving around.
Wow, yeah.
We've used weird things. We've used rocks.
CD.
Oh yeah, you remember I showed that in the UK. This here you go. This is nice because they're lightweight. Remember we talked about this?
Definitely.
I mean, I'm not. Who's using these anymore? I'm not, right? You're
no.
not. I used to put my resume on this, you guys, back in the 90s. Okay, so that's like, hey, you want me? I thought it was so cool. Here's my business card, you guys. But anyway, you guys, this works great. It has a hole in it already. It slides nicely. You guys were using this.
Yeah.
I love it. I always have a bag of these, and you can just use them whenever you want to. I'll show you these cute little things. Here's some mini Ouijas. Like little ones.
Oh, brilliant.
And this was actually a keychain.
Yeah.
Now, I don't open them because I'm a collector too, and you don't always want to open all your items.
No.
So I will never open these, but I will tell you what, I have used these before. Get your finger on there. They really do work. You just gotta, first, I wouldn't start with a small one. I would start with a normal size one because it's really hard to do it because it's so small. And it has a little planchette it pulls out. It's super cute. But yeah, when you're into collecting these, you collect all kinds of Ouijas. That's what you end up doing.
That's brilliant.
It's fun.
Nancy says slice of agate with a natural window.
Oh,
silk.
Nice. See, everybody's clever. Nancy uses the board too. Everybody is clever, you guys. Yeah, find what works. So I tend to keep these CDs with me. That's because they move so simply. But you could find a flat stone. Agate's nice because it is smooth. A polished stone. You can use a coin. I use a double old-fashioned or a shot glass. Shot glasses are a little high, so they might be a little harder to do. But I know in the UK, you guys call it what? Using the glass? Isn't that what you guys call it?
Yeah, we use glasses on tables, things like that. Yeah.
And see, that's more of a UK thing. That's your country started that. It wasn't the United States. We were using other kind of apparatus, but you guys started that.
Apparently, we're the ones who did table tipping. You don't do that out there.
Yes, and I know in France too with Spiritism they were doing table tipping around the same time you guys were doing it too.
Oh wow!
We were doing it as well, but it was bigger in the other countries.
Yeah. I was on a show in Florida, and he sort of said, "What's this about table tipping?" He's fascinated by it.
Have you ever done that, Jacqueline?
Yeah, cool. It's going all the way down a corridor and go around a corner. And originally, it seemed to be an old gentleman because it was like it was moving like a Zimmer frame would. And then another energy came on, and it was like moving at some force. And you just felt the energy change on it. That was one of the best experiences I've had.
And you know what? This is what I say to you guys: practice and try a lot of these old school techniques. I was doing table tipping in college, so back in the 80s, and I was like, okay, let's just don't do Ouija board. Let's do some other things. So we start experimenting with so many different ways of working with the energies. And I'm going to tell you, you start doing these different techniques, like you said, Jacqueline. What happens is you start developing your abilities to feel and sense if you try different tools. So the tipping, we had rapping out stuff and spelling, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, you can just try anything really.
Yes,
one of the weirdest experiences with me, I was out in a field near a castle, and something was stepping in front of me. So the grass was going down as if something was stepping on it.
Wow.
And that's the weirdest, most amazing thing ever, because I thought, well, have I just stood on that? No, I've been standing there quite a while. Then it continued to happen in front of my eyes, and it's like, so anything can happen. Just try any experiment within reason.
I agree. So you actually literally saw the grass go.
I saw it moving. Yeah, we couldn't get. I was trying to get footage of it because it's been filmed at the time, but you can't really capture it. And but yeah, there's me and at least a couple of others actually saw this grass like somebody's walking on it.
Oh man,
I love it. Springing back, and that is so. So just keep your eyes open and just look at everywhere.
I think that's the key.
Know what's happening around you.
While
you're on the gadgets and listening to them, you're missing out on a lot of stuff sometimes.
Yeah, especially we're just like down here, like on our phone or recording our EVPs, and we're not paying attention. You're right. Pay attention. Be open to so many things. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a cool experience. One time, I was living in this house. This is late 80s. I moved to Texas, and I was living in this house. It was an old vet clinic remodeled into an apartment, and I would see the weirdest like animals, ghost animals, you guys. And one time I remember, and I was with my boyfriend, he saw it too. We're in one of my back rooms watching TV, and we saw little footprints, like little like a cat or a dog, it was small, walking across the couch and indenting as it went. And it was like nothing like it. It was just, we're both like, did you see what? You know,
Yeah.
then you go, oh, where's the camera? You know, we didn't have cell phones
Yeah.
then. And the camera, we probably didn't have film. So it was like, oh my God. Well, at least he doesn't deny it. It happened.
Yeah.
It's
But
great. It's great.
I want to thank you so much. This has been absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
yeah,
And
you're
thank you,
just showing
everybody.
like more and more possibilities, and there's just a lot more out there for people to explore.
There really is, you guys. Thank you guys for your comments and for joining us here and for your questions and just being a part of the energy. It's great energy, and for you to get out there and explore and discover and try some of these ideas and techniques that we talked about today. Or as I love what Jacqueline said, just being open, observe, see what happens, and learn always to start calibrating your own energy. It's amazing what happens when you do.
But thanks everyone so much. You've been wonderful. Good evening to you if you're in the UK, and it's approaching late afternoon in the US, isn't it? But wherever you are, have a good afternoon, night, and stay safe. Thank
Thank you
you.
guys.
Goodbye. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.